round two, right?
Yeah, round two. Hey folks, Russell here, back at it again. Previous video, we tried to get this engine installed into the Jeep, and we had some issues. So after taking a look at it, we're going to make another attempt at stabbing it in from the front side. And of course, if that doesn't work, then I will have to pull the transmission transfer case. But we're going to try and push it in from the front. Decided to disconnect the rear drive shaft so we can spin the transmission to help line it up. So we're going to time lapse this just for the sake of keeping it short, and we're going to put this engine in, so we'll get started. Don't say it often, but here we go. Third time's the charm. Today, we're going to hang the engine. Third attempt. We tried to stab it in a second time, didn't work out so well. So we ended up removing the transmission transfer case out of the vehicle, went ahead and attached the transmission to the engine to eliminate any problems with mating it up underneath the car. So we're gonna go ahead and hang this into the mounts and level up the transmission and probably call it a day after that. So without further ado, I'll get the camera set up and we'll get this motor hung. All right, folks, finally, third time's a charm. We've got the motor in, resting on the mount cushions. Bolts are started, and with the nuts slightly loosened. And I've got a jack underneath the tail shaft for the transmission just to make sure it doesn't rock around. So the difficulties we had were obviously trying to, we removed the engine with the transmission and transfer case still in the vehicle. While that's not ideal for a Jeep, it can be done. Problem comes in with trying to put the motor back in. In a Jeep with an automatic transmission, not a problem. You slide it in and then you get your torque converter bolts bolted up. When you're trying to stab the engine onto a manual transmission, gotta have your pilot bearing perfectly centered. Perfectly centered. And that's easier said than done. So instead of trying to pull it out, recenter, put it in, and try over and over and over again, we decided to drop the transmission and transfer case, which, by the way, is the proper way to remove the engine out of a Jeep. Transmission transfer case comes out, and then the motor comes out. So instead of trying to, have that out and then set the motor and then try to line the transmission up while the motor's installed, which has its own difficulties, we attached the transmission basically on the bench. Double check that the pilot bearing was centered. This pilot bearing actually has a camphor in it to help guide it in. So got it started, got it mated up, used the unusual or a non-recommended procedure, which is tap on the tail shaft of the transmission with a rubber mallet a little bit just to kind of center it, and then use the bell housing mount bolts to slowly draw it in. I know people are going to say that's not how you do it, and you're right, that is not how you do it. However, with these Jeep engines, I've been doing it like that for years, never had an issue, especially when you're dealing with a brand new pilot bearing. And the reason I had a brand new pilot bearing was because this block was originally used, or this crankshaft was originally used in the Jeep with an automatic transmission, so it didn't have a pilot bearing in it. Long story short, transmission's attached, got it into the vehicle, and we're sitting on the cushions. I'll come back at a later time and install the transmission, the transfer case, and the skid plate mount, and finish buttoning this up. So that'll be a video for another time. Once again, if you like this content, go ahead and like, hit subscribe, and hit that bell icon for future notifications. And as always, there's more to follow.